7.62 by 51, 308, 7.62 by 51, 308, 7.62 by 51, 308. Is it just a myth? Hey everybody, Clint here with Classic Firearms, coming at you guys today about 7.62 NATO versus 308. Is it a myth that you can't shoot one through the other's type of rifle chambering, things like that? So let's just go ahead and start talking about these two cartridges, right? Long story short, 308 came first, 1952. A couple of years later, 7.62 by 51 was adopted by NATO, which is this guy here, and as you can tell, there's a huge difference. You can't tell. I can't tell other than the 308 looking a little bit cleaner, right? 7.62 by 51, like I said, was adopted in the early 50s, 1954 to be exact, by NATO as the new battle rifle cartridge, and has been around ever since, used by multiple platforms, multiple firearms, AR style rifles, the FN SCAR, which is pretty sweet, the FAL, which is also pretty sweet, the M14, which is also pretty sweet. So the 7.62 NATO cartridge is just overall a great cartridge, but is it really that much different than 308 Winchester? And the short answer is, it is different. But is it that big of a deal? I have personally shot both 308 and 7.62 NATO cartridges through both interchangeably 7.62 NATO rifles and 308 Winchester rifles. Technically, and unlike 5.56 223, the 223 cartridge actually doesn't generate as much pressure as the 5.56 cartridge. It's the reverse for 7.62 and 308. 308 actually generates more pressure than 7.62 NATO does, and there's a couple reasons why. One, the case thickness itself. This guy right here is ever so slightly thicker than the 308 Winchester, right? And because it's thicker, even though it has the same exterior dimensions, science pretty much says it won't simply hold as much powder as the 308 will, because, well, it doesn't have as thick a case, therefore, and like I said, same exterior dimensions, therefore it has a little bit more room in the casing itself to hold more powder. Therefore, when it's shooting or traveling down the barrel of a 308 chambered rifle, it's going to be generating a little bit more energy, a little bit faster velocity, things like that, than if a 7.62 by 51 was traveling down the barrel of a 7.62 by 51 chambered rifle. So because of that, it's generally understood or recommended that you do not shoot a 308 Winchester cartridge through a 7.62 by 51 rifle because of those pressures, and you have the possibility of damage to your firearm or self. But like I said at the beginning of this video, I have shot a lot prior to my knowledge of this, and when I first got into shooting and I saw 7.62 by 51 and 308 and the same guy at the range, you know, your local range, saying, oh, they're the same thing, just like 5.56 and 223, just shoot them, you'll be fine. And I've been fine, I guess, and but I've never actually experienced any type of malfunctions or issues in interchanging the calibers between rifles. So if you've experienced something like that, I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Is it just a myth? I don't think it's a myth. I do think that there's actually some true scientific meaning here, and also the way in which pressure is measured. There are copper units of pressure, and then you also have just your standard PSI, where the cup measuring way of doing things isn't anywhere near as accurate as what PSI is. And yeah, so guys, it's really complicated stuff, but I don't think that they're so different that they're actually going to cause you a lot of harm. Now, that being said, it's totally recommended that you actually contact the manufacturer of your firearm to verify, hey, I see that it says 7.62 by 51 or 7.62 NATO or 7.62 millimeter on the rifle itself or on the barrel. Is it safe to shoot 308 through it? And some manufacturers might come back out and say yes. Some might say, hey, stick with 7.62 by 51. I don't know. Like I said before, I've shot 308 through an FN SCAR. It's been fine. I think Springfield Armory actually in the manual of the M1A says it's fine to interchange calibers through the M1A. So again, it's really a lot out there about this cartridge. But like I said, 223, 5.56 Apparently there's quite a bit of difference as far as PSI goes, or the pressure generated by almost 10,000 PSI. So yeah, that's quite a bit of a difference. But again, I've also been that same guy to shoot 223 through 5.56 and 5.56 through 223. Now that's not to say that a long ways down the road, you might run into extended wear, things like that. Because again, that 308 chamber, not as long as the 7.62 NATO chamber. Remember, a 7.62 NATO guns, that's a NATO cartridge being made all around the world, and military wants to be able to accept pretty much be able to accept a lot of different cartridges made, well, not different cartridges, but a lot of cartridges made from different manufacturers and different places of the world. So therefore, the tolerances aren't as tight, I guess you could say. So there's, you don't have to worry about so much as any type of feeding or accepting those different cartridges that are made in different parts of the world. All right, 308, a little bit tighter, a little bit shorter chamber overall, or a shorter throat as it's called. And yeah, so able to withstand those higher pressures a little bit better, right? So yeah, 223, 5.56. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I think in that video where we compared the two, I told you guys down in the comment section, let me know if you know of anybody or you yourself have had any type of a negative experience shooting 223 through a 5.56 or a 5.56 through a 223, because the 5.56 is supposed to be at a higher pressure rating than what 223 is, and shooting 5.56 through a prolonged period of time through a 223 might give you problems. Same thing can be said, I guess, in this situation here, 308 through a 7.62 by 51, but I don't know. You guys let me know. With that being said, is one better than the other? 308, from what I can understand, is going to give you a little bit better terminal velocity, things like that. You might be able to reach a little bit further with it. So maybe 308's better. 308 Winchester is better than 7.62 by 51 in that mindset, but 7.62 by 51 is a rugged little cartridge, right? It's got a thicker case diameter, and or thickness, I should say, and so yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one, guys, but I want to hear from you guys down in the comment section all about 7.62 versus 308. Now, a lot of modern produced firearms chambered in 7.62 NATO are probably going to handle the 308 Winchester cartridge without an issue, right? Now, I'm not saying take that as gospel or anything like that. Again, verify or get recommendation from the manufacturer of your firearm to guarantee that it's going to safely function through those two calibers, right? Pretty much rule of thumb is, look at it this way, whatever your rifle's chambered for, shoot that caliber. That pretty much ends that discussion, right? But all right, I think I'm gonna leave that one there, guys. 308 versus 7.62 by 51. 308's been around just a little bit longer, simply because the commercial market, Winchester, saw there being a great potential for the cartridge and said, hey, this thing right here is probably the most popular, one of the most popular hunting rounds cartridges ever, probably next to the 30-06. 30-06 naturally just being around longer and still produced today as well, and is a great cartridge. But this is a short action cartridge, 30-06 long action cartridge. So there you go. All right, last thing I want to talk to you guys about is our current giveaway. And that's this little guy, something a lot smaller than 7.62 by 51 or 308, not so much in diameter, but this guy's 9 by 19. All right, it's also the HK SP5, and it's also got the Franklin Armory binary trigger and the SB Tactical side folding brace, because we thought that would just be a cool thing to throw on there. Why not? And if you guys aren't familiar with Franklin Armory and the binary trigger, it allows you to go bang when you pull the trigger and then again when you release the trigger, and it is a heck of a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it to everybody. So go check out, again, the HK SP5, made on the same assembly line, same tooling, same personnel that the oh so loved MP5 is made on. So head on over to that top banner there. You're going to see the beautiful photo of the HK SP5 on there. Click on that, and then that's going to take you to a web page to show you all the different ways to get your entries. And remember something, guys, I think a lot of you don't know this, or if you're new to classic firearms, we like to give away a lot of guns. We like to spread the Second Amendment wherever we can. And I want you guys to know it's not who has the most entries, though more entries do help, of course. It's not who spends any money, because it's free to enter. All it takes is that one entry. And of course, number one way of getting the best entries is to refer your friends. That's like 900 right there. And to get a couple of bonus entries, type in that code word. The code word is quite simply slap. And it's kind of like, well, it's not kind of like, it is an HK slap that you perform on the SP5. Just like that. Got to get the, bite the lip and all that stuff too. And if you do win this, I hope one of you guys to send in some footage of you putting in some work, some live fires, some photos of you and your SP5, again with the side folding brace, the binary trigger. I want to see that footage, guys, so we can post it up to our social media and all the haters can quit saying that it's fake, because they're not. So I'm going to leave it off there, guys. Again, 7.62 by 51 versus 308. What are your thoughts, opinions? Am I completely wrong with what I said earlier, or am I not? I don't know.